Hey, everybody, and welcome to We Watch TV. It is the podcast about the TV that we watch. I'm Daniel. She is Hope. This is episode 128. It's still January, last I checked. We did get the Christmas stuff down, though.
Almost.
Don't give me that.
Down.
Don't give me that.
You still have to get the strip of lights off the roof off.
Nobody can see them, so they're down in the eyes of the public.
Yeah.
So
it was really interesting because I'm still very sick and very winded. So I helped, and I helped a lot. But it was more like my helping was, okay, put this here, this goes here, bend over and get this. You're not wrapping that ornament up right. You have to start over again. No, that picture frame, have you lost your mind? It's not at the right angle.
It was a great time.
We've had our Christmas stuff up. I have a picture of us from several years ago where we took a picture before we went out to dinner on Valentine's Day in front of the Christmas tree. Like, this was a really long time. It's back like when we actually used to go out on Valentine's Day. But it's like a super long time
We've
ago.
done a much, even this year, which was probably the latest it's been in a long time. We've been doing a much better job about getting that stuff
I'll
down.
say that year when it was the Valentine's Day one, though, we did not put the stuff up until after Thanksgiving. And that is why that is the dumbest idea I've ever heard, especially when Thanksgiving falls late, because you do all that work and then they're only up for like a couple weeks. Then you have to take it all down. So when you do it in November, as God intended, then it's much better. Yeah, I think in 2024, we took them down about this time because we were at the marathon weekend and our whole lives were devoted to marathon training. So we didn't get the tree down till then. So considering everything, all this, the illnesses and the stress and the tired, I'm proud of us that we were able to finally pull that off.
Yeah, I'm glad that the Christmas stuff is gone.
I'm glad that we're starting to eat a little bit more normal again.
You don't like fast food all the time? You're not a rat person like me?
No, you're built different. We all know. It's not just fast food. It's like basically what happened was, Thanksgiving, you have the one big meal, you have leftovers, and then it's some normalcy. And we were pretty normal. Then we went to Disney and had the Disney diet. And I don't think, we did like one sit-down meal for that trip. We did go to 50s Primetime, which that's more normal food. But we did a lot of quick service. Listen, I love the Casey's corn dog nuggets with the fake cheese. But that is like 100% preservatives going in my body. We did the cookie stroll. I consumed just a lot of cookies. I caught it the Scott Calvin diet from like the Santa Claus, where he's like, what's your diet? Like milk and cookies. And the guy's like, and you should diet. Because, he's talking about his hair. The scene, right?
Yeah.
That's not an easy feat to eat all those cookies. So then we come back from that trip. I get sick, eating very weird, a lot of soups. Then, as you guys have heard the saga, God knows we've all heard it thousands of times, get a little bit better. But then we go into Christmas, and Christmas is like cheeses, dips, sugar, all those kind of foods,
It's not a good time if you're already having trouble dietarily.
Yeah, so it's a good time while you're eating it, but the after effects are always like, And then we have our mess of Chinese food that we do for our annual Christmas Day meal. That is our tradition. And we get way different stuff than we normally get there. And then it was like, then I get sick again, and I can barely eat anything. So I've subsisted on like soups. Stuff tasted like metal to me. So it was like soups. I went through a phase where even the soup was bugging me, and like, because I couldn't taste anything. And Bob Evans biscuits kept me alive. I would have like 2 biscuits a day. Do you remember that?
I do.
There was like 5 days in a row. Didn't like I don't remember if this was like round 1 a plague or round 2 a plague, but like when you went to pick up our order, the Bob Evans lady like clocked you. She was like, is somebody sick?
Yeah, it was the first time we went in because you ordered like the double soup containers and just biscuits, and she's like, "Somebody sick?" I was like, "Yeah," and then she was like, "I gave you some extra biscuits."
That was nice of her. So it was that, like, soups, everything, and it's just, and then you've just been living. You live off that. You're a fast food man.
Yeah, but that's my like baseline instincts.
Yeah,
and it's not good.
No.
So again, you keep me from doing that to myself, and it's a good thing.
And
but,
then when
because I shouldn't just be eating Wendy's and Taco Bell on rotation every day,
and Little Caesars lunch specials,
and Little Caesars lunch specials,
and like then, when I'm out of it, like and not eating much and just eating soup, you are like you're just like free to do whatever you want
in the worst ways possible. Yeah, because I'm not just okay. Listen, I enjoy a good soup. It's good soup.
Good soup.
I don't enjoy soup every day.
Or a biscuit meal for 5 days.
It leaves me feeling like I've eaten nothing because I feel like I just drank my food.
Listen, it's to help like your throat, your sinuses.
Yeah,
and really the reason why you do soup when you don't feel good is to put something in your body.
Yeah. And so when she was having soup, sometimes I would just get something from Bob Evans, but
Didn't you cook like a pan of ground beef one night and eat it?
I did, yes.
Okay.
Just so everyone's clear what I did.
Did you like saute it, put any vegetables, or was it just meat?
Well, no, hold on. That was the night I made you the vegetable soup, the one that you liked, not the one that you thought was too salty.
Okay.
But I needed a little bit extra because I was tired. So when I was out buying ingredients, I just bought myself a pound of ground beef. And then as I was cooking the soup, I fried off the pound of ground beef in the skillet next to it.
Did you eat the whole pound?
And then I ate all of it and my bowl of soup.
Doesn't a pound of ground beef equal out to 4 thick hamburgers at least?
Yeah, probably.
Or more.
That's nothing. Hey, I didn't have the buns.
It's just like with the bacon, it was low sodium.
What? I've eaten 4 hamburgers in a sitting before. You've seen me do it.
I have.
At least in this case, I didn't have the buns.
That's true. That is true. That is true. And then when I was excited to finally, I was like, I'm really hungry. I want to start eating something like good. And you got us Little Caesars pizza, and it was good. And then the after effects, because that was like the first kind of solid food that I put in, and then I felt horrible after that. So finally, over I think it was Friday, this past Friday, we had a normal protein. We introduced a vegetable that wasn't just in soup, actual vegetables.
And actually, it wasn't just potatoes also.
I hate when the holidays are over and the decor goes away, but my body desperately is we need some normal food. I'm just happy that I was able to eat the normal food over the weekend.
Same. So hopefully we'll continue to get back into the rhythm of life.
I'm sure all our listeners love hearing about our dietary stuff when they're trying to hear us talk about TV.
Men,
and my plague.
I know there's some men that listen to the podcast.
Yeah.
Even though I know our numbers, it's more women than men, but I know there's some guys out there. Who amongst us hasn't just fried off a pound of ground beef and eaten it before? Who hasn't?
What do you put in it? Do you put anything in it though?
I put salt and pepper on it.
Not even onions or just meat.
Yeah.
And you think it's weird when I want just mac and cheese for dinner, but that's normal. Is that?
Yeah, I think it's insane when you just eat mac and cheese for dinner.
I understand. Mac and cheese can be a side dish or a main
butter
course.
Noodles.
But listen, butter noodles I have enjoyed since I was a child.
That to me is an insane meal to just eat. To only, I could.
I
mean,
like
honestly,
for dinner.
without a red sauce, even if you had sides, it's strange to me. But to just have noodles with butter and nothing else.
When I was little, I did not like the red sauce. So I just wanted the butter noodles. And now, as a grown-up, I don't dislike the red sauce. But if I have red sauce after 8 p.m., I'm going to burp all night because of acid reflux and old age.
That's right. And we are our eating habits are Mediterranean. Is that what Hannah said?
No, that's what I should be doing. She said we
Timing-wise.
I don't know.
She dragged us for
people.
Eating too late.
Yeah, Spanish people. Which it is true. We spent summer in Spain in college, and they do eat dinner very late there. But doesn't she eat 4 o'clock?
She probably goes to bed at 9 too. What kind of life is that?
I mean, she's a medical professional, so I like my medical people to be well rested.
If I went to bed at 9, I still wouldn't be well rested.
When someone's touching my eyeball, as she has to do, I don't want her to fall asleep on the job. Let's put it that way.
Well, there was a positive to all of this. I'm going to
Yes.
try and find the positive and the negative of the holiday season that we endured. And that is you got to watch a vast amount of television.
So much TV. So much TV. And TV that I probably wouldn't have finished, but because when you can't walk down your hallway without coughing up a lung and you're pretty much rendered to your bed or the couch, you have a lot of time on your hands. So lots of TV was watched.
So we do want to start, last week's episode, Stranger Things finale.
Yes.
We, talked about Conformity Gate. And
Which-
I just would like to say that I was, of course, correct. That
I was correct too, even though I wanted to believe.
I didn't.
Okay, listen. Listen, I got real into it on TikTok because it did make sense, but
If you didn't watch last week's episode, listen to last week's episode because you're not a Stranger Things person. Essentially what Conformity Gate is a bunch of
or
Stranger
if you've
Things
been living under a rock.
a bunch of Stranger Things fans who didn't like the ending. So they decided to come up with a conspiracy theory that there was going to be a secret episode dropped. That did not happen.
But like they did their homework. Like the piece they did a better job than like the writing on the show. Like piecing together all these things where I feel like the Duffer Brothers were back there being like, what? Like Michael Scott. It was like Scott's Tots. That episode where they were probably like, what is going on?
Listen.
What do we do?
They did their homework. Is like saying their history teacher assigned them to write a paper about the Korean War, and instead of reading the history book, they watched MASH and wrote about that. That's the
what
homework
MASH
they
was
did.
about. I thought MASH was about the Vietnam War.
No, it was about Korea.
Really?
Yeah.
I always thought that show was boring.
Okay.
I have beef with MASH. There was a show I think it was like 90210 reruns. Used to come on FX at a certain time, like after school. And they switched up like their time slot. So I think I was like in high school or something. And freaking MASH they put in its place. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like this, like MASH. So you know how I have like beef with Castle because it canceled that show that I used to like, or went in its time slot. Even though I think I'd really like Castle. I think I would have loved Castle, but I will never watch it.
You always have beef with shows that you've never actually seen before just because they were on
Yes.
at a time when that was inconvenient to you.
That's why your mother has beef with WVU.
You're going to compare yourself to my mother in this case and be happy
You know
with that
what?
comparison?
I'll throw a penny one. She is justified. But go
Okay.
Mountaineers.
You killed my analogy that I was trying to make there. But anyways, so Conformity Gate didn't happen. Stranger
No.
Things is over. Thankfully, we can all move on with our
Well,
lives.
now they're saying maybe in 2027.
We can all move on with our lives.
Now, I just like to say, though, that, and I mean, if you listen to the podcast, I did like the finale because if I'm going to obsess with plot holes, I can go back, clear back to like season 1. The only reason why I wanted it to happen was because of, I think it would have been like TV history. It would have been iconic. And if I'm somebody that works on another show right now, I'm like, look at how big this blew up, this like marketing thing. Like people, like there have been musical artists that have shadow dropped albums before, but I'd be like, we got to do something like this. So I think it will, a show will actually do something like this someday because this is going to inspire people. What do you think?
Some writer somewhere is paying attention to this, and that idea will be born. Now, they also have to get the TV channel or the network or the streaming service on board with it, that it will actually work. And then they actually have to produce a show for multiple seasons that people actually like, and they have to keep it a secret. So I do think it is a monumental task, but somebody has got this in their mind is like, ooh, wouldn't that be a cool idea? So
you know what? Netflix like totally knew we were doing that because they were making it worse by like baiting us. And then like Slim Jim, like everybody's Conformity Gate TikTok, Slim Jim would comment on it. And I know Elle like ate a Slim Jim thing, but I'm like, Slim Jim's making me think this is like gonna happen.
I could go for a Slim Jim right now.
I have never liked Slim Jims ever. I think they're disgusting. I don't like jerky type
I don't make
stuff.
fun of your friends.
Yes, you do. You criticize me. You just criticize me about butter noodles and mac and cheese.
Whatever. So anyways, before we get into TV, Hope has a huge announcement.
Huge. As of the airing of this episode, because we were recording on a Monday, but today is Tuesday while you are listening, Tell Me Lies Season 3 is out. I believe we are getting the first 3 episodes. We love a 3-episode drop. I've briefly talked about this before. I mean, I've only had to wait like a month and a half or so, maybe about 2 months since I finished it. Some of you guys have had to wait, I think, like 2 years. I can't imagine. This show is like it could make a contest for my best thing going, but I'm not sure if season 3 is going to be the last.
Right.
It is. Listen, I love great love stories. I love fun stuff. I love The Summer I Turned Pretty. But you know what I also love? Mess, diabolical, backstabbing, manipulation, drama, craziness, pettiness. This show delivers. There were several of you listeners, and I'm sorry that I did not buckle down and watch it sooner, that I suggested that we, but really they probably meant me, watch Tell Me Lies, and you guys clocked me. You clocked it so well because this show is amazing. Basically, it revolves around Lucy and Stephen DeMarco, who is the greatest villain in TV I have ever seen. You think like, what's her name from Game of Thrones? Cersei, like Papa Lannister. Let's think of some villains. Joffrey, there's a good villain. Ramsay Bolton. You think all these people are good villains? They have nothing on Stephen DeMarco. And that's because Stephen DeMarco is like a real man that I could have, even dated once, seen in the real world. They lurk among. This is why women choose the bear, because of people like Stephen DeMarco. You know, the man or the bear thing.
I understand, yes.
Like, he's so diabolical, but he's also, I feel like he's like, unfortunately, a canonic event for many young women. So it starts off, there's like flash forwards to, I think, the wedding. I don't even know if we're going to have like present, because I think the wedding scenes are like 2014, and it's not their wedding. They have like kind of a friend group. His old roommate is named Evan. Lucy quickly became friends with a girl named Bree. It is their wedding. So we have those scenes that are taking place, and then we have the flashback scenes to them in college. So those starts in 2007, and how this whole manipulative relationship came to be. There is a mystery along the way. Like, Lucy's roommate from freshman year passes away after leaving a party. Guess who ultimately ended up being involved in that? He didn't kill her, but he lied about it and knows what happened. Ding, ding, ding.
Wait,
Master
there's
manipulator.
lying in the show?
Yes, it's called Tell Me Lies. Stephen DeMarco. Horrible. And then, so it's all taking place. It's interspersed. There is one scene in the first season, that Mr. Brightside song that's coming out.
Listen, I'm a middle-aged white kid.
Yeah.
I'm familiar with the song.
Yeah. Where they coming down the stairs at a party while Lucy and Stephen were together, but he like gets back with his ex-girlfriend Diana because he's a user. And he knows that will help him, like, get his internship or whatever. But, like, the whole thing is crazy. Which, by the way, if you haven't watched that show, I just spoiled one major moment for you. Daniel, please remind them that we are a spoiler podcast and that what you do to prevent people from getting spoiled.
Hey, everybody, just a quick reminder. This is a spoiler podcast. And if you don't want to be spoiled about the shows we talk about, I put all of the links in the show description. And most of your apps should convert that into an actual clickable link, though you can just skip over the show you don't want to hear us talk about.
All right, now back to Tell Me Lies. So then we have.
I like how I did that in a way that could have did I insert it later, or did I actually say that right off the bat? They'll never know.
We'll never know. So then we have season 2. Season 1 ends, by the way, with a shocking moment where we find out who Steven's fiance is.
It's
now.
Shocking.
It is Lydia, Lucy's high school friend. That doesn't even go to college. We're like, what? So Lydia, I can't stand you. I'm pretty sure that's how season 1 ended. I watched them. I had the luxury of watching them both at once.
When you watch a show, like, to get like 2 or 3 seasons, like all at once, it's really difficult sometimes to like pick apart the where did things happen, because for people who watched it like live, it's very memorable. Oh man, now I gotta wait so long. But for when you just watch it, blitzed it through, I can see how that would be difficult.
So Evan and Bree at some point get together in college. Like, I think Evan's like a junior and Bree is one of the freshmen, like Lucy. So they do get together towards the end of that season. Obviously, the flash forward is their wedding, so they are presumably, obviously, they're getting married, so they're not presumably, they're together in the future. Well, after that whole party thing where Steven screws over Lucy, like, Evan used to like Lucy, by the way. Full stop.
Okay.
They get really, like, wasted, and they end up sleeping together, which is like this huge secret. But so season 2 starts, and then the college teens, they're like, yeah, let's never talk about it again. It was a huge mistake. And eventually Evan does confess to Bree that he cheated on her, but they don't say with who. So you go clear to the end of season 2. The group is learning about some other drama that happened, and Steven and Evan are talking, and Evan, like, has decided that he can trust Steven again, because Steven, again, is a master manipulator. And he's like, by the way, that girl that I cheated on Brie with, it was Lucy. I'm really sorry. It meant nothing. And then Steven's like, okay, so can you say that just, like, one more time for me? And, like, kind of like in a conversation. So what Evan doesn't see is that Steven records him saying that. Now, keep in mind, we're like 2008 at this point. So we flash forward to the final scene. Right before Bree's getting ready to walk down the aisle, she receives a voice memo. It is the recording of Evan admitting that he slept with Lucy. And at this point, Bree, for what we know, I mean, this could be revealed that maybe Bree did find out later this season in season 3. But from what we know at this point, she never knew. So not only it's almost, I hate to say it, maybe I'm toxic, a level of petty that anybody could aspire to play this long game like that. So not only did Steven save that voicemail for like 7 years, every time he'd get a new phone, he would save it, transfer it to the next one, just so he could drop it at the right time, right before Bree is getting to walk down that aisle. So she listens to it, and then Lucy, who's like her maid of honor, is behind her with like the flowers. Like, absolutely just diabolical on every level. She was checking
her phone at that point in the wedding?
When you are, yes. I'm sorry, we just had razors when we got married, but like, I'm sure, I'm sure, yes.
That's fair. That's
and
fair.
I probably did check my phone.
That's fair.
Daniel. Anyway, there's so many other moments that happen in the show, and it's so good. It's really hard to shock me. And you know this. I figured out the whole twist in Fight Club, for example, like not even halfway through the movie. What?
Why you got to go bringing that up?
And Daniel was so irritated with me. We were in college when we watched that, and I was like, oh, okay, they're like the same person. And he was like, what? I'm very good at, because I like to search for the mystery. So that is something that I get on Stranger Things about, because they don't even know how to write their own mystery. I enjoy doing that. So it's really hard for a show to really snatch my wig, as I don't know. Do the kids say that anymore? Probably not.
No.
To take my breath away. I don't know. And I'd be watching this like before bed, and Daniel would already be in bed, and he would hear me like screaming, like out in the living room, like, oh my gosh.
Then you'd want to come in and talk to me about it, and it would be like I'm like being held hostage.
I wanted you to do a refresh and watch everything, but you're going to settle in and you're going to fit right in when you watch, because you have to tell the fan. It's what the fans want. You have to tell them what you think of season 3, because that is what we're going to be doing.
That reminds me. We made a deal about this.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. I'm going to watch Tell Me Lies. Not only am I going to watch season 3 with you, but I'm also going to catch up on season 1 and 2.
That would be, no, we're going to have to come up with another show now, because that would mean I'm not going to go back and rewatch season 1 and 2 now with season 3 just dropping.
I said I'll catch up.
You'll watch it by yourself.
Sure, put it on while I'm working.
Oh, and you can understand that Stephen DeMarco is the greatest TV villain
What was the deal, Hope?
And I would watch, like, was it The Next Gen?
No.
What was it?
Star
I don't
Trek
even know.
Deep Space Nine.
Dude, I've had brain fog.
Deep Space Nine. Because I haven't watched all of Deep Space Nine all the way through, so I would like to do that.
And I told you I would watch Star Trek 90210 with you.
Oh, that doesn't give me the same excitement. I'm not here for that.
You know what?
Okay, so
I feel like they made that for me. Anyway.
Season 3 is coming. It's dropping literally the day this episode comes out.
Yes.
You're very excited about it. We will be covering. Is that what streaming service is this on?
Disney Plus, Hulu.
Okay, so they're getting the first 3 episodes and then weekly.
And then it'll probably weekly release, yeah.
All right.
And I can't wait. And I think it might be the last season. I'm not sure. I need to research that. But we have watched a lot of other TV. A lot, a lot, a lot.
Yeah,
So
and I think we want to start. This is the one that's like, I guess we're starting with the one here now that gets us probably the most excited each week to look forward to. It's the one that like keeps us going. Fallout Season 2.
speaking of toxic men,
Which is
the ghoul's
strange.
back.
It's strange for me. You know, you liked Season 1.
I did like Season 1.
But it was one of those ones where it was kind of pulling teeth to get you in to the seat for the first time, but it got you after that.
Most shows and movies that I watched based on video games have been a
terrible.
flop.
Yeah,
Now, I know that I at one point liked The Witcher, but that ended up becoming a flop.
And it was also based off a book.
Oh, I thought it was based off a game.
There is a game, but it was based off the book.
It did produce that good song, though. Like, what is it? Toss a coin to your Witcher.
Fallout Season 2, I say we're what, four episodes in right now. I like this season a lot. I think some of the pacing problems that Season 1 had, they have gotten that fixed. But I also think some of the pacing problems that Season 1 had were just because some of the storylines weren't as intriguing. But those storylines, and I'm talking about Maximus here in particular,
well,
his
storyline
is interesting now.
And it's good that they fixed the pacing because we watched Season 1 after the whole season had been released, whereas now I think we watched the first 2 episodes and then we had to go wait on the week. Have we watched 5? I don't even know.
I think
what
it's
is
just 4
time
right now.
Because we did watch 2 at once, right?
Yeah, the first 2. I don't think they came. I think we just didn't watch the first one.
Well,
I think
we were out of town.
We were out, or something was going on, and we didn't watch the first one until later. So that's why there were 2 for us.
But I'm really liking it. I ended up liking the first season, but I would say that would have been my main criticism. Like, again, like little nitpicky things, like, oh, this magical like shot heals you. Like, as soon as you explained to me that was like a game thing, I'm like, okay, so in this universe, that's how it works. It basically picks off pretty much right after Season 1. Season 1 ends with like Lucy kind of finding out the truth about her dad. You don't bring in Kyle MacLachlan to just play a nice guy these days. He comes off as the nice guy, but also very villainy. And we find out like what her dad did to, what is it, like they were trying to like rebuild California after like everything was bombed. And we find out that he was one of the, like, I don't know, would you call them a sleeper cell? Because they're not sleeper cell agent, but like one of the people that...
Yeah, I guess I would. I mean, he was from the time before the war.
He's from the time that the ghoul...
Yeah, he was frozen when the bombs dropped, and they were slowly releasing them kind of to control the vaults that they wanted to control. Not all of them got that. Some of them just got left on their own to do their thing and all kinds of crazy experiments. And so we're kind of finding out, well, you know, one of the things they were doing was they needed to wait until the surface was clear of all other people before they came out. And so he had to go take care of Shady Glen because it was actually doing well.
And one of the big like plot points that was revealed in Season 1 was the vaults. I don't remember the vault numbers, but like you'd always marry somebody from one vault from the other vault, and they were working together. Well, we come to find out that the one vault doesn't even have, like, it has all the people that are like basically like frozen or asleep, waiting to be like awakened, because Lucy's brother, his son, who I don't even think his son knows that his dad is evil yet necessarily.
No, I don't think he does.
He gets like thrown in there for trying to figure out Lucy's. Obviously, she finds out all at the end. So it kind of picks up right from that. Lucy and the ghoul are teaming up. They're trying to find her dad. Maximus, he's back with the Brotherhood. But the Brotherhood storyline, which I could not stand in Season 1, now you find out that there's different factions of the Brotherhood that are fighting with each other. And like Maximus like makes some questionable choices. But then he I feel like he's starting to wake up again and realize what's going on. And that maybe, you know, because I think at one point I was like, wait a minute. I thought Maximus was just going to go back because he felt like he had to. But then we were like, maybe he was buying in to like what that guy was selling. But then he quickly, I think, gets a reality check.
He was buying in until he and that other guy end up going off like on their own to have this conversation about, because they're trying to prevent.
And the other guy was like the president of the Commonwealth or something, like the leader, like I don't know, like kind of like one of the
he's an emissary
leaders
from him, I think, and they're trying to prevent like this fracturing of the Brotherhood. And they end up, you know, finding a bunch of kids, and half of those kids are ghouls. And the one guy is like, well, ghouls are abominations. We have to destroy them. And Maximus is like, oh, hold on a second, and stop. And he kills that guy. So he has a moral compass.
And we get more of his backstory, that he
Yeah.
was part of, like, his parents died in that town that Lucy's dad blew up, but he survived because they put him, like, in a refrigerator or something. I don't know. Okay. I also was like peak like COVID brain when I watched some of this, but it's the one show I've been like super locked in about. Like every time I take a puff of my inhaler, I like pretend like I'm the ghoul. We're getting more backstory on Cooper, who becomes, that's his name, right? And
Yep.
he becomes the ghoul. And I know I've never played Fallout. I know like there's a Fallout game like literally in West Virginia, which I don't think, I would love it if they finally, they're in Vegas right now. So I think if this show's going to have to last, because they mostly travel by foot if they ever make it to West Virginia, but that would be neat. But I know from what like you were saying, TikToks that I've seen, they're working in a lot of game references this season.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah, and it's the way, and I've only played Fallout a little bit, so I'm not like in any way a deep lore expert, but they're working out in a lot of really interesting things, and it's one of those things where it doesn't, you not knowing them takes nothing away from the show. But
it's like a wink.
For the people who do know them, it just adds so much extra to it. And so this is the way you do it.
Yes, Stranger Things. So unlike Stranger Things, it's like, oh, well, you had to watch the play in New York City or the UK to get a hugely relevant detail. This is how you do stuff like that. Is you sprinkle it in, you give a little wink. Like for The Summer I Turned Pretty would sometimes have like just like little winks to like book readers with like background items. That's how you do that. I don't know. Like I feel like the pacing of the season is great. Like you said, we haven't seen Lucy's dad, Kyle MacLachlan's character. I don't think he was in the last episode, but he's up to something.
Yeah.
Like we've had like this whole genetic thing going on. So obviously the ghoul's looking for his family. The only way his family, his wife and daughter would have survived would have been like if they had gone into a vault and like done something like that. I really hope we at least see his daughter.
Which we think, which is a reasonable thing because his wife worked for Vault Tech and was one of the higher ups at Vault Tech.
She was the one that was like, let's blow it up now.
Yeah, so you have to imagine that she she's
giving kind of villain energy.
Would have had a vault secured for herself.
Do you think, I feel like she is giving villain energy, but she also doesn't want to do what she's doing, but she feels like she has to for her job or maybe even her safety. So I don't think she's a full-blown villain. The internet's very split on her. Do you think she's full-blown villain, or do you think she's doing what the corporate world is kind of forcing her to do, and maybe she feels like if she doesn't comply, her family would be threatened? Like, people have very mixed feelings on the villainous nature. Is she a villain? Is she not? Is she just doing it for self-preservation? What do you think of the ghoul's wife?
I think that from my perspective,
lied to him,
and it's maybe it's easy for me to say something like this. I don't know. I feel very strongly that if you're bad if you're going along with that stuff, even if you're under the thumb to do it.
But what if she feels like her family would be threatened and that's the only option she has? A lot of people would do crazy things.
I know.
To protect their family.
But I know a lot of people would do a lot of crazy things to protect their family. Just because they would do that but just because the thing they are doing, just because the reason they're doing it is good, doesn't make the thing they're doing good.
Yeah. And I think we might have a little bit of that because ultimately I'm sure Lucy and her dad are going to meet up at the end of the season. And I don't think Lucy, because I think she does have good memories of him. He read to her as a kid.
Yeah.
He, for the most part, from her experience till she found out all these things about him, was a good dad to her. She felt like he was, and I think you're going to see some of that conflict come into play if those two meet up again. What do you think?
Oh, I mean, to me, that's going to be the end of the season is the meetup and how does she reason that out? Like, how does she handle the situation with him, and what is the ultimate conclusion of that? So
I really like that our Christmas kind of got extended because none other than Kevin McAllister, Macaulay Culkin showed up.
I gotta think he's gonna show up later in the season, right?
So now he's acted twice with Walton Goggins, because doesn't he play Walton Goggins' son on Righteous Gemstones? Yeah, Baby Billy's son. I'd almost forgotten about that. I hope he shows up again too. I like seeing him doing work like this.
I don't think that they would have had that whole storyline with that group if it wasn't going to come up later.
Yeah.
So I think it will. Something's going to happen. I don't know what it's going to be, but I think we're building towards something.
Like each storyline that we visit each week, whether it's like with Lucy's brother or the other people in the vaults, like the eye patch girl that's from the Bad People thing, Lucy and the ghoul off on their own, even Maximus. it's a situation where anytime we get to the B or the C plot, I'm not like bored like I am in other shows. I'm truly invested in each storyline, and it is probably the show, like you said, other than Tell Me Lies, that I look forward to the most every week, and I'm excited to see where they're going. I'm glad that there are other people online that also ship Lucy and the Ghoul, because consider me one of those people.
All right.
Do you ship Lucy and the Ghoul?
No.
Oh, come on.
Gosh, we got a lightning round of stuff here.
So many things.
We watched the movie. This was on Netflix, I believe.
Yes.
The People We Meet on Vacation was kind of a rom-com.
Bring back rom-coms. I would have watched this one probably. I mean, Daniel's like, no, you wouldn't. Yeah, because I'm sick right now. But like, if I didn't have the plague, I would have watched this. This is a movie I would watch as a theatrical release. And he's like, well, what movies have you seen? And I'm like, none, because they have not brought. I think Anyone But You was the last rom-com that they brought to the theater. And also, I was sick with the plague when that one came out. I love a good rom-com. And we watched this this past Friday. And Daniel's like, even though I told you like 50 times, I was like, we're watching this movie called People We Meet on Vacation. It's based on a book. There are some differences from the book to movie, but I think it worked out well. It was just good. And Daniel's like, what are we watching? Because, of course, men never listen. I was like, we're watching People Meet on Vacation.
What?
It was really cute. I think the two leads were great. I bought into the chemistry. I like that you get a little bit of enemies to lovers, but it's mostly a friends to lovers trope, which I also like. And it starts off with, I don't know if it starts off in the future or the past or what, but we go back and forth. We see their friendship evolve. They met in college. They are from the same town, and he was giving her a ride home. And
what town? Where from? What town?
Linfield, Ohio.
In Ohio.
Ohio. They got the Ohio scenes right with the sidewalks.
Yeah, at the very end, she's like, she's it's a rom-com. You know how these things end. So she's, showed up at his house in Ohio
in present day
to chase him down and be like, to profess her love for him and say she was wrong. And he's a runner, so he's they've throughout the movie, they paid off that he's got noise canceling headphones in when he runs.
And that she always runs, and she's like, I would never ran a day in my life.
And so she comes home, she finds his house, she knocks on the door, he doesn't answer, and then he leaves from the back door and is going on a run. She sees him and she takes off running. And both of us just stop and start cackling, because when she hits the sidewalk, there's just like giant crack, and then it kind of goes up into a ramp and then down. And it's like where we run here in West Virginia, but we also run in Ohio sometimes too. Small local town sidewalks are just always a mess.
So horrible.
And so that was respect.
And then I know they didn't film in Ohio, but like I saw somebody on TikTok was like, this doesn't look like Ohio. There are trees there. To which I ask, what do you guys think Ohio looks like? We have trees in Ohio. I was very confused. And they're like, well, I think some people think of Ohio as a cold, like wasteland with like we do have power plants here, but like I don't think people I think people just, they don't, a lot of people don't think of Ohio the way Ohio is in reality. And I'm like, we do have trees. Ohio does even Cleveland gets warm in the summertime. And like his house that he lived in, like I saw someone was like, well, that's not a house that's how look in Ohio. In old parts of Ohio, yes, they do. Like you grew up in a house that was like 150 years old or something crazy.
Yep.
So anyway, I liked it a lot. It made me smile. It put me in a good mood. Sometimes I just want a mindless rom-com. I felt like we had several that's Jane and them. You know what I mean? Like we're pointing at the TV. Let's see. Alfie from Emily in Paris showed up. You pointed him out before I did. And then Piper No, whatever that actress's name is from White Lotus. She played the lead guy's like on and off high school flame. So I don't think it's any surprise that I enjoyed this movie. There's a dance scene in it that was really cute. So I'm going to turn it over to Daniel, who did laugh, did smile, and was, by all counts, having a good time. So Daniel, give me the Daniel Roush review. If you say it's fine, I'm going to throw this microphone at you because I know you enjoyed it. But
it was fine. What? It was a perfectly serviceable rom-com.
You told me. Are you
Beats
serious?
the pants off of anything Hallmark has ever thrown out there.
Okay, but you're just going to say it's fine when you told me it was better than fine when we watched it?
I enjoyed it.
Is it? I need to know, is it fine or slightly better than fine?
Slightly better than fine.
Okay, thank you. Retract your original statement.
Retracted.
You only said that to what? To irritate me?
Of course.
Well, mission accomplished. Anyway, what did you think? You had there was one scene where you were smiling a lot. So that was you liked the dance scene. You thought that was funny.
That was funny.
Tell me your 3 favorite things about the movie.
Oh my gosh, you are expecting me to remember.
You had fun while you watched
things.
it. And you were like, I think you already just said that it was a lot better than the Hallmark crap we've been watching.
Like okay. worlds apart from any kind of Hallmark movie. So yeah, like again, this is a actual movie with an actual script. At first I wasn't a huge fan of the flashback methodology of storytelling they were going for until I realized it was literally the entire structure of the movie, and I just had to get past it, and so I got past it.
Well, you had to learn their history.
The New Orleans flashback was fun just because New Orleans is a fun town to be in, and then the way they kind of played off being a couple in that one was entertaining.
You like seeing where you'd been before.
Yeah, certainly. It's entertaining.
He was like, I've been here.
Yep. So that was good.
And another thing, I said name 3 things.
His clothes being taken by the water. Was that an ocean or
They're
a
in
lake?
Canada, so I'm assuming one of the Great Lakes.
That was a big lake, a big wave for a lake.
Have you ever been to the Great? I'm assuming we're at the Great Lakes, right?
Sure.
They have like waves, right? I went to Lake Erie once when I was a kid, and I was so confused because I thought we were at the beach.
Yes, I have been to.
So they have like waves.
I have been to Lake Erie.
What lake would be?
Lake Michigan.
Would that be like Lake Ontario? I'm trying.
I don't know which one they went to. Like
don't ask me to do geography.
They're all on the border.
They were in Canada,
except for Michigan. Well, even Michigan. They were in Canada.
One of my friends used to. You know how everybody else goes to Myrtle Beach. Their family had like a lake. They're rich, but they had like a lake house in Michigan, and they went to Lake Michigan like every summer. Like that was their Myrtle Beach trip.
Okay.
But this guy, guys, you need to start flooding Daniel's comments and not just commenting to me, because after that he was like this, and I could easily do the same about something that we're going to talk about later and be like, oh, it was okay. You liked it a lot more than you're letting on.
Yeah, but you liked the thing you're talking about way more than I like this movie.
Quiet.
So we'll just get to that here in a little bit.
Do you agree with me that sometimes not every movie needs to be heavy, and that rom-com is a genre and it would make money, and we need to bring more rom-coms back? Like, I would have seen this in the theater. This is a movie I would pay to see a theatrical release.
The thing is, I think you could find a balance, because I don't know that I would have been interested in going to see this in the movie, but I sat on the couch and watched it with you on a Friday night, and so I would be fine with more rom-coms of this quality being made and then just offered to me on the streaming services.
But you would get popcorn at the movie theater
instead of whatever Hallmark is doing. Long pause. All right. Next up, you watched the Eras Tour concert movie and Eras Tour documentary.
Disney Plus had 2 different Taylor Swift things. They had the final Eras Tour movie, which included the Torture Post Department songs. You did watch that with me.
I did.
We watched that like before Christmas. I think it was before the pre-plague. We watched that, and then when we got back, and like I think I watched a couple episodes before, and then really when I got back because I was sick, I watched the Eras Tour documentary about how it was made on Disney Plus, and it was just, I feel like I did it wrong. You should have watched, because you already saw the Eras Tour movie, so it was basically the same, just the addition of those sets. Because when you did catch one of the episodes of the Eras Tour doc about how they did the tour and like her background, and like when Florence showed up and they kind of had her training her, like you were more interested in like the stage setup and all that stuff. So I definitely screwed up. I should have started you with the doc and not had you sit down and watch the movie again, because you're actually super nerdy and into that kind of stuff about like how like from the production side, I guess.
I'm perplexed, and my brain is struggling to. So we went to see a thing in theaters.
Okay.
That's
oh my
not
God.
this.
No, we saw the Eras Tour in theaters. in like November of 2023.
Yeah, I'm not talking about that. So we saw something in 2025 in theaters.
No, we watched that on Disney Plus. They dropped the Eras Tour final movie where
you're full of it. It was she dropped an album in 2025, and we went to see a thing in theaters.
Well, we watched that. That was something different. That was the Life of Showgirl album release movie.
Okay, and then we're not talking. That's not what we're talking about.
You sat there and watched. We watched it was her final performance in Vancouver, and it was like the concert. Basically, it was like the entire Eras Tour concert.
Okay.
I never got to see because I don't get to. I don't have $1 million.
Did you watch the whole thing, and I just came in for the Tortured Poets Department part?
You watched,
or I sat there and saw the whole thing.
I think you had your video game thing up there, but you watched it. Because you were like, I
remember the Tortured Poets Department thing, but I don't remember watching.
Probably because I said put your cell phone up, pay attention to this set. So yeah, we did watch. Oh my gosh, we weren't supposed to even talk about this for very long. The Eras Tour thing.
Well, let's move on then.
But anyway, as I was saying, you completely disregarded everything I said. Do you not agree that I shouldn't? Especially, I mean, I guess the hypothesis is being proven correct at this very moment, since you barely even remember. I shouldn't have had you watch the concert movie with me. I should have, because you did pop in and out of the documentary. You were a lot more locked in. That's what I should have had you watch instead.
Oh, for sure. Yes.
Because you were asking questions. You were very invested in that. Well, as invested as you could be.
Emily in Paris, season 5. Everybody, I'm just going to have an admission to make right now. I dipped after 2 episodes of this.
Well, we watched the first 2 episodes when Plague Number 1 hit.
Yeah, okay.
We got back from Disney. Paris is such a character itself to me.
Yes.
So when she's like Emily in Rome, it just doesn't hit the same.
Snore. Couldn't care less.
So we paused it because the Christmas holidays, everything happened. And then when I was rendered used to the couch, I was like, hey, do you care? Because I think if I had waited, you would have sat down and it'd be like a dinner show because the episodes are short. But I was so bored. I was like, do you care if I watch this without you? And you didn't care at all. This season could have been an email.
Yeah.
I don't really know what else to say about it. I know it got renewed for season 6. I never was I think another reason, we never liked Emily with Marcello, the Rome guy. I thought he was just toxic too. Everyone was trying to make it out to guys, she's Gabriel, that's the end game. Which he was barely in this season, but I think that was intentional. I mean, there were seasons of Sex and the City where Big was hardly in it. But even people that really wanted to carry, I feel like Alfie was more like the Aiden. I don't know, maybe. But the whole Alfie and Mindy hooking up, that is extremely random to me. That's called we don't know what to do with these characters.
But we want to keep them on screen.
Yeah, which I mean, Alfie's abs are very nice to look at, but it was just the one good scene episode that I liked was where Gabriel and Emily went to dinner, and now Emily basically we do have some more work plot now. Sylvie's husband has been screwing her over financially, and she might lose the business. Emily gets offered to stay on with Marcello and his family in Rome, but they do go back to Paris. You missed out on, at least it got a little better when they got back to Paris, but she's like, no, I can't. And I think it's because deep down she knows she's not in love with him. I'm like, how long does Emily's visa last? What is the time that has passed by on this show? They did have another random episode with Brian Greenberg showed up from One Tree Hill. And guess what his name was?
You paused the show. You screamed at me to come upstairs just to see him on the screen.
And what was his name?
Jake, I'm assuming.
Jake. Tell me, they know their audience who's watching this show, that it's a lot of millennial women. They did that on purpose, right?
Sure.
Named him Jake.
Absolutely.
But that was he's some guy that worked for the embassy, and they had a 4th of July party. So it was the most random episode, and then we don't see him again at all. It was really strange. Will I watch more? Of course, but I don't even think if you want to join in with me, which I'm sure you will, for season 6, that there's not even much for you to catch up on. It could have been an email.
Was Cammie in the season at all?
No, she was not in it at all. We're done with her.
I know we are. It's just strange when you have a character who was so
villainy.
Well, so front and center to the story for the entirety of the show, and then a season they're gone.
Yeah.
And it's not because they're not they're just gone. Like, and I know it happens.
I think her
like,
role was kind of just played out. I couldn't.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree. It seems to me.
It'd be nice maybe if she showed up in an episode and we saw her and she's doing better.
Again, like you said, I know they have renewed it for another season. It seems to me like they need to start packing it in.
Yeah.
Because I feel like we're getting to the end of what we can say with all these characters without making some major life choices that would affect the flow of the show. So.
Well, like, and some of it seems you have sometimes where you have to, and this is not necessarily Emily, when you continue a show, you have to like Sylvie, for example, and I still love her, but like at the expense of character growth.
Right, exactly.
I think if they're going to do anything, what I would like to see would be wrap up Emily in Paris in season 6. Give me a like prequel show about like young Sylvie, because I feel like she's a firecracker.
I don't need that at all.
You like Sylvie.
I do, but I don't need that. All right, so you also watched, mostly without me, I think I was hovering around for a few episodes. I Love L.A. season 1, which is on.
As the Nikki Glaser joked at the Golden Globes, I don't know what they're currently calling it, but I believe at the moment it is HBO Max. Okay. This show is like, do you remember Girls with Lena Dunham?
Yeah.
And Adam Driver. Got to start on Girls.
It's good soup.
It's like Girls. That's what that's from. Yeah, I've seen it. Girls. It's like Girls meets Sex in the City, kind of. Like, it's very much. See, Girls is such like millennial coded show. This is very much like, even though I think they're millennial actors and writers, it's very like Gen Z, I feel like. It's good. It's fun. It's funny. It's some of the humor I think might be offensive to people. Like, they made a joke about like the LA fires like twice, and I'm like, oh my gosh. But like, it's and I'm not. That's tragic. So please, nobody think I'm laughing at that, but like, I was just so taken back. I think you did watch an episode where Elijah Wood showed up.
I did. I saw that episode. Yes, that was entertaining.
That was perfect episode for you to join in on. I think I had sat down
on the couch to do something, and then they were like, "Hey, we're going to a party at Elijah Wood's house," and in my brain, I don't even know that I said that to you. I was like, well, I'm going to see if Elijah Wood shows up.
Yeah, so he does. But it's basically about like Maya. When I first heard about the show, a friend told me to watch it. Shout out Jane, even though I don't think she listens to podcasts. They were like, you need to watch the show. And I was like, oh, the guy that played PETA in the Hunger Games is in it. I was like, oh, Leighton Meester, Blair Waldorf from Gossip Girl is in it. So much to my dismay, Blair Waldorf is like the older, cringy boss of our lead character, Maya. And they clocked us millennial women so fast because she's like, I'm always like carrying my Stanley like around. Like, she's got her Stanley always. I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah, they're coming for us. They're coming for our throats there. But so she's not the young one. She's like the older person now. But like, Maya works for her company. It starts off with like she's living with her boyfriend PETA. Her best friend in New York, is like basically a TikToker, like an influencer. That's kind of her job. She's like low key famous in that type of world. She comes back to she's still in New York. Another friend who I think they said this is Forrest Whitaker's daughter in real life, but like her dad, she always references her dad as being like somebody famous on the show. She's like a nepo baby in real life, which is funny. That actress, the one that was really into Lord of the Rings and
okay.
Elijah Wood, that actress.
I gotcha.
So she like flies in, the girl from New York City, and like apparently like in college, Maya and Tallulah, that's her name, were so tight knit, but they were also kind of crazy and almost toxic together. But Maya takes Tallulah on as a client because that's what they do. They like manage people at Alyssa, aka Blair Waldorf's firm. So you're mixing that friendship with this other, I don't know, I was very sick when I watched this, but it's very funny to see their friendship spin out of control, and like just like certain like Erewhon, they have like a whole like scene where they go shopping, like all like the LA people know about that. I've already told you, next time we go to LA, I want to go to Erewhon. It kind of gets into like the whole like TikTok culture. Like at one point you have a girl who is but by the way, that girl that had the party at Elijah Wood's house is like a real TikToker. She's never come up on my For you videos, because mine are mostly like about like mental health and dogs and like stuff like that. But like I think somebody said she was like a real TikToker in real life.
Okay.
They kind of, and then she had like that. You watched that because you watched that episode where they had like the click farm. And
Okay, and I'd be honest with you, like respect to her. And now that I know that, because she was kind of dragging and making fun of
like kind of herself
and the way TikTokers do that kind of stuff. So respect, because sometimes people aren't comfortable making fun of themselves.
I felt like Elijah Wood made fun of himself a little bit.
Oh yeah, it was great.
It was, and then it ends where Maya ends up quitting the company. She's just going to manage Tallulah on her own. She kind of has this old creepy toxic boss that she clearly has feelings for. It's just another thing. A big huge plot happens. We have this whole side plot. Her boyfriend is a teacher and he has these friends over. Did you watch that episode with Claire?
I don't think
Let's
so.
just say women are always right. She was like, oh, so Claire's like kind of young and pretty, and she's like, you want to do her, and he's like, no, I don't. Well, the big plot twist is at the end is that Dylan and Claire, aka Peto from the Hunger Games, would never do this, by the way. But that he and Claire like hooked up. Like, yes, like he and Maya were sort of on a break. But still, I'm like, he was so gaslighty when he was talking to her about it. I was like, I wouldn't be surprised if this isn't the first time they've hooked up. And I was very disappointed. But I'm just rambling about it at this point. It's a show that's hard to explain. You just got to watch it. If you've ever seen Girls, if you've ever seen Sex and the City, it's like those two shows got married. It's like the best thing to describe it, again, like I said, Girls, but for the newer generation. So is it going to be cringe? Are you going to really dislike almost every character? Yeah. Is it entertaining? Sure.
All right, next up, the one more into the win column for Daniel when it comes to recommendations.
Yes.
I TikTok found me.
Yeah, you had
I don't
it on
know
your
how.
TikTok
I don't
first.
know why. I don't know what happened here. But yes, Heated Rivalry found its way to me, and I immediately, like within a couple TikToks, I was like, "Oh, this is a hope show," and so I told you about it, and you were like, "I don't know about this," and then I kept telling you about it.
You kept telling you weren't marketing it properly to me. You're like, it's about like hockey. No, it's not.
I don't. No.
You
I
said
said
it's
it was
about
gay hockey.
Yeah, but you made it. I thought it was gonna be like too sporty. It's not. It's basically The Summer I Turned Pretty, but like with hockey players, rivals that are in love with each other. Shane and Ilya. Shane Hollander from Canada. Ilya from Rosanov from Russia. The show basically, it's again your favorite format, which I feel like you've watched most of this with me. You were in and out. You missed some of the pivot as usual. What's our tradition for watching TV?
I almost always miss the first episode, or at least half of the first episode.
That was like we do with Suits.
Yep.
You did that with Umbrella Academy.
Never fails.
With this, so you kind of miss, but it goes that back and forth. Like, so we have like the present, and we go like back, or it's maybe not a back and forth.
I don't think there was. It just kind of started.
Okay, so yeah, it's not back and forth.
It just went forward. It's just it had large time jumps at it, like
not
even
it's not
like
back
episode
and forth.
to
You're
episode,
right.
but like scene to scene within episodes would jump like 5-6 months at a time.
Yeah, don't listen to me. It doesn't go back and forth. It actually just, we start in the past and we go forward to the future. My bad. Again, I have like the brain fog right now. So we start off when they're getting like, I think we even have, they're getting like drafted to like the NHL or whatever in this world, to like fake teams that look a lot like real teams. And Ilya is the number 1 pick. Shane's the number 2 pick. So, and they clearly knew each other before that. There's some beef. They get drafted to like rival teams. They play against each other like in an all-star game. And then they have this moment where they meet, and it really reminded me of like the Conrad Belly moment, like at the pool where Conrad's smoking the cigarette in season 1, and Belly's like, you really shouldn't smoke because Ilya's smoking. He's like, smoking's bad for you. And the guy's like, you don't say. And it was just like this tension, not just because they're rivals, but because there's some chemistry. And they do hook up. And if there's a lot of hooking up between them, but they are still falling in love. But again, they're in a sport And probably a lot of sports, I would say.
Well, and
for
not
men,
just a sport, but also you got to remember what this show starts in 2008.
Yeah.
So they're not only in a sport that's not particularly accepting of that
Yeah.
lifestyle, but they're not a sport. Sports, men's
yeah.
sport in general is not very even today. Men's sport is not
Yeah.
particularly supportive of that kind of lifestyle, and so but they're also in a time period where it is starting. We're finally starting to open up here in the West. And then there's a storyline, of course, about that's not happening in Russia, which is where Ilya is from.
Like
I think that's a storyline that's probably going to continue into season 2.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is the whole thing about like getting him some sort of like dual citizenship so he doesn't have to go back to Russia. So a lot of that stuff was, it made a lot of sense the way
it goes
they put
along
it together.
with their romance and like are they rivals, but they really are falling in love. They love each other, but they have to keep it a secret. They had like names that they would text each other, Jane and Lily. And again, brain fog. But I was like, oh, Jane Shane. I didn't put that together till the last episode. I was like, Ilya, Lily. You clocked that immediately, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
And then we have this like whole other like sidebar episode where we have the American hockey player who's like older. I think his name's Scott.
Scott,
right?
yeah.
Scott, and we have this is where I'm thinking that they go back and forth because we go back to a scene where they're in like Russia for the Olympics, and the guy's like, oh, they're going to go see one of like because they all the people in the sports world know each other. So Shane's hanging out with the two American, Scott and the other guy, the other guy that shows up on every like drama I ever watch. He's on My Life with the Water Boys. He's on like everything. I'm like, why is this guy always here? But he's the one guy's American teammate, and he's like, oh, it's really hard for people to be like out and gay here. And you kind of the camera, and the first time we have this scene,
You
kind of
clocked. No.
Yeah, I did.
You clocked it. I was watching that with you
Yeah.
when they had that scene. He made a look, and you
like
said,
a face.
"What's he making that face for?"
Yeah.
And then the scene went on, and you just went on with it. But then when they went back to it, you immediately knew what was about to happen.
Yeah. So we find out that Scott is also gay, but clearly not out at all. And normally I don't like the moment like love at first sight trope. It's like usually my least favorite unless you do it right. And Scott and Kip do it right. And I feel like a lot of fans watching the show felt like that episode was a waste. It absolutely was not. And once you get into it, that episode served a purpose. And that was one of the ones you watched their whole episode of the Scott Kip storyline and how they have this meet cute.
It was it was a well put together episode, and in particular, I thought it told an important story too.
Yeah.
Because at the end, we find Scott is struggling being out in public.
So they have to end their relationship.
And so they have to end their relationship because he's not ready to come out because he feels like the consequences of that are too much for him. And so he's like, hey, listen, we can be together in a couple of years when I'm not that far from retirement.
Yeah.
We can be together after I retire. And of course, Kip's like, that doesn't work for me.
Yeah. So later as the show goes on, Shane and Ilya, like at one point, like Shane even tries to like date a famous actress they're seen with, which you can tell Ilya is very jealous of. Ilya, like he has been with lots of women, but clearly, I feel like his love for Shane has grown. So we have the fifth episode, which is like the best episode. Oh my gosh, rent free in my mind. I think that's where we have the club scene, right? Too in episode 5, or is that episode 4?
I think that's 4. 5's the episode where
the episode with Scott
where they're
and Kip.
watching Scott's team win the cup on TV.
Yeah, because both of their teams are out, and Kip still using Scott's tickets. And this is like 4 years later, probably in the timeline, right?
Probably
at least a couple years later. Calls him down, declares his love, basically says to the world, like, "This is my person."
On TV, national TV, in the celebration of winning the cup.
A lot of people that are even casual hockey fans like won't tune in every game, but they're usually going to watch like the Stanley Cup Finals.
Like us with the Super Bowl.
Hey, I've been watching more. They probably lost as of this recording, but my Steeler, your team's not in the playoffs for the NFL. But anyway,
is anybody surprised by that?
No.
I think we would be surprised if the Browns were in the playoffs. That would be the surprising thing.
Anyway, we're deviating.
Okay. Yeah.
But basically, so Shane and Ilya see that moment, and Shane had asked Ilya when he was in the hospital, like, you need to not go to Russia this summer. Come to my cottage in Canada. And we get the text, I'm coming to the cottage. So the whole last episode is basically them getting to know each other on another intimate level at the cottage. They think they're alone. and then Shane's dad shows up, sees them, so they do have to come out to Shane's parents. Let's just say his parents are great.
Yeah.
I knew they were going to accept, but like his mom first was like, I'm really sorry that you felt you had to keep it a secret. But then that woman went into Kris Jenner mode, baby. Like, all right, what are we going to do about these brand deals? This is how we could minimize this. This is the statement that we could put out if this has to come out, if this comes out. Because his mom was basically like, you guys want to live in secret like this? Maybe you should talk to Scott Hunter. That's his name, Scott Hunter.
Yeah.
And she's just going in Kris Jenner mode. Like, how can we capitalize off this? Like, she does love her son. We had that beautiful moment with Shane and his mom where he's like, Mom, I tried to not be like I tried to like be different.
Yeah.
And it was very, to me, like very heartbreaking. But do you not think she channeled her inner Kris Jenner? Was like,
Sure.
well,
No, she did.
how can we
She
do
did.
the brand
Yeah.
deals? And this the whole scene with like, and like Ilya, like, is there like all they know him as they think their son like hates this guy, and they're calling him Rosanov at like the dinner table, and he's like, oh, call me Ilya. It was, and like he shows up wearing like the Boston shirt that he's like, because that's the hockey team that he plays for. So I pretty much just gave you guys like the full blown synopsis of the story, but I saw a TikTok that was like, the summer was our Bonrad summer, Conrad and Belly. Winter is for, and it was like I don't remember what their ship name is, but for Ilya and Shane, and the show is blown up.
Yeah, it really has.
The two leads presented at the Golden Globes last night.
You're welcome.
Yes. I thought that the guy that played Ilya was like really from Russia. That actor? One, they only filmed the season 1. They never thought it was going to be like the success it is. They filmed it in like 37 days or something.
Yeah, that's what I saw. Very short.
He learned Russian in a week.
Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
Very impressive. So I think some of the people that are skeptical about the show, like, oh, isn't it just a bunch of like, like intimate scenes? There's intimate scenes, but it's more than that. It is a love story, and these are good actors.
Yeah, it is, and it starts out, and yeah, there are some intimate scenes,
but there are with other shows too. Tell Me Lies has intimate scenes.
The only difference is there's either two men.
Bridgerton has intimate scenes, exactly. And I feel like I've seen so many like women that are like, oh, I can't watch this because my husband or my boyfriend won't watch it with me. And I'm like, my husband told me, hey, I think you'll like this show. So thank you for being a green flag in that area.
It was a good story. Like you said, I think I missed some of episode 1 and 2, but I watched pretty much from the end of episode 2 through with you, and I thought it was a really well done story. I thought it was not just, yes, there are some pretty explicit sex scenes,
but there's that on Bridgerton
but
too.
They're that on normal. So the only difference here is it's two men, and get over it, because it's a really good love story. Not only is it a good love story, but there's a political story going on in there as well, talking about the state of men's sports and how things work and how people have to hide who they really are from society. And I'm not a gay man, but I certainly can empathize with and sympathize with people having to hide who they truly are.
Yeah.
And so I understand, and I was able to connect with the story too. And I was just encouraged. I'm calling out the men again. Let me know if you've eaten a whole pound of ground beef on its own, and also go watch Heated Rivalry with your wives, girlfriends, significant others.
Yeah, I think it's definitely shows that in the world, like, while we have as a whole become more accepting as not everybody, but like what we talked about Stranger Things, like we had to remember that was in the 80s with Will. We become more accepting of that.
But there's still
in the
pockets.
society, but like the sports world, the professional sports world. So if a show like this can maybe even make people more comfortable, because I guarantee you there are people that are living in the shadows in these worlds and are scared to death.
Every men's sport out there, I guarantee it.
It's just yearning. I just remembered something now. We were talking about with people we meet on vacation. When you were like, it was like, and you did admit to me that it was better than fine. But Daniel goes, I like the hockey guy's love story better.
Yes, I did. This was a good show. It had a meaning, and I think
it was funny too.
It was based off a book, right? And I think there are other books.
Yes.
So the more seasons will come with.
I'm gonna need to read those
with things based off of them. It'll be interesting to see, because I feel like this first season went from like 2008 to 19, Where did we end up?
I don't remember,
So
honestly.
the next season is going to be structured a little bit different.
Yeah.
Certainly, because because now they're together.
And then Shane's parents know.
Yeah, and his parents know, and so now that story it's going to be a different feel to season 2. So I'll be interested
And
to see
he's
what they
going to
do
be
with that.
leaving his Boston team because Ilya's a free agent, and he's going to go play for not the same team that Shane is on, but another team in Canada.
To be
They
closer,
didn't use like the real names of hockey teams.
To
probably
be
'cause they
closer
weren't
to Shane,
allowed.
but also to get into Canada and start, because he's, again, a big obstacle for him, in addition to just generally that being a stigma in the sport, is he's also from Russia, and in Russia that is not that is not an acceptable thing to be, and so he's trying to get on a path towards getting a citizenship so he doesn't have to go back to Russia.
My only fear for season 2 is I feel like season 1 ended. You could have accepted that as an ending.
Sure, yeah.
And that they're going to give them drama and hurt my boys.
Anytime you've got
And
one
I'm
of these
sad about
things
that.
where they got the money to make it, but there was
Yeah.
never any promise of a sequel, so they made a full and complete story, you're going to have that problem of they're going to have. So what is the drama going to be for season 2? And is it going to screw up what they did in season 1? And you hope it doesn't do that.
I would like to see Scott and Kip again at some point, just as like cameos.
Right.
But I do think their storyline was sewn up. So like, that was, I don't know, it's just a good show. I don't.
Okay, we have watched some Ghosts and some Abbott Elementary. Do you have anything remarkable to say about any of those?
I really like the tradition of the Ghost Christmas episode of Sam being possessed by a different ghost.
Sure.
She was possessed by Thor, and this time she was possessed by Flower. I don't really remember too much because I feel like I was really sick when we watched Ghosts.
You were.
I like Ghosts.
I don't think it hasn't come back yet since Christmas break. Has it?
Abbott did though.
Abbott did. They're in a mall now.
Because something went wrong with the school before Christmas break. I think like a water. I don't remember. They had some issue, and they can't really bring in the trailer. Didn't you go to school in trailers?
Yeah, I had a couple of them.
Okay. But they put them in like basically an empty mall. I think that would have been fun to go to school in a mall.
I think they played it exactly how the kids would do it. The kids would be distracted and going nuts about it. So I think they did a really good job there. All right. Well, listen, folks, we broke tradition. So if you've been with the podcast for a while, then you know that it is an annual tradition around my birthday in November for Hope to engage with me in one of my favorite film franchises, that would be of Star Trek, and watch a progression of those movies. So last November, we watched Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home.
The one with the whales.
The one with the whales. So anyways, maybe it was the drugs, but I don't know. You haven't taken your cough syrup in a while.
It was because I
don't know what
exhausted
happened.
all the TV options.
But we're getting ready to go on a Starbucks run, and I think it was either before we left or when we got back, and you were like, maybe we should just watch Star Trek. And I was like, what Star Trek?
I don't believe you that I said that.
And you, because I was like, what do you want to watch? Do you want to watch some original series? Do you want to watch Next Gen? I'd love to watch This is where the Deep Space Nine.
I think this is the brain fog kicking in, guys.
This is where she's denying it all, of course. This is where the Deep Space Nine conversation came in. You said, no, I want to watch the next movie. And I said, all right. So we watched Star Trek V, The Final Frontier.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
It was fine.
Bullshit.
Don't.
What did you say when the movie was over?
I said, Star Trek fans, you guys are crazy. This is the best one. Daniel told me, he's like, now, this is highly regarded as being one of the worst Star Trek movies. It's my favorite one yet, of course. It's all about the romance is alive and well between Spock, Kirk, and Dr. McCoy.
And by the way, I want to say that while I warned you, this is highly regarded as one of the worst
You
ones.
did say, but
What else did I say?
You go, but you might like this one best. What is the thing on Parks and Rec? No, you boo.
Yeah.
It was my favorite. I think that for all 2 of you, maybe 1.5, 0 of you that listen, that like Star Trek movies, you guys are stupid when it comes to Wrath of Khan. That is my least favorite one. I never watched the very first one. Daniel didn't have me. I thought other than Ricardo Montalban's abs as Khan, that movie is a stinker. Stupid. Didn't care for it at all. It's only because it was maybe I don't think I watched the third one on your birthday. So I don't know how you got me to watch that one.
Yeah.
The Search for Spock. I can't believe I'm remembering these names. Oh my gosh.
Good.
And then we watched the one with the whales what is it, like the Voyage? No one calls it that. Even my dad's like, I saw the one with the whales in
Yeah,
theaters.
nobody calls it that. Just say the one with the whales. It's fine.
That one was elevated, much better. It was fine. I'll guess this one was better than fine. And I guess you said William. I knew you should have just been like William Shatner wrote this one. I used to follow Shatner on Twitter, and he would always live tweet like the Vampire Diaries. He's a Delana fan. Like he and I watched. Why he watched Supernatural? Like we watched, which is very interesting that I used to watch the Vampire Diaries, considering Paul Wesley, who played Stefan Salvatore, now plays young Kirk on Strange New Worlds. But I digress. I should have known that we'd have similar tastes, similar vibes. It was good. Like this movie was like this is one. I actually found the villain and like the most like entertaining that I've seen. Like it made the most sense. We get to see Spock's brother. It wasn't just like stupid like some of the other stuff you've made me watch. It was actually like I was invested in the entire story. The only thing that was weird for me is that I don't know when this movie came out, but Shatner is starting to look like how I remember him, because my first William Shatner experience was Miss Congeniality.
Right.
So he's definitely aged, but there were so many good like liners between.
The reason I
thought, sorry.
The reason that I thought you might like this one more than the others is because this is probably of all the Star Trek movies, this is the movie that has the biggest spotlight on Kirk, Spock, McCoy. And I know the dynamic of those three is something I know you like.
I have my boyfriends, Spock and Kirk, the boyfriends and their best friend, Dr. McCoy. That's it, I'll expect.
Yeah.
But then I found devastating news after you had me.
Sure, yeah.
Because I've come suddenly, TikTok's always spying on me. So I've been having a lot of Star Trek. I think that's what happened was I was getting Star Trek edits before.
Yeah.
And because of this brain fog, and I don't know, maybe because I was trying to be nice to you because you've taken such good care of me, I was like, you know what, I could and I guess I didn't hate the one with the whales. I was like, I could probably watch it. And when you exhaust all the TV options and you just need something, I was like, fine, let's watch it. But then I've had more Star Trek edits as a result of this. Are you proud of yourself?
I am. I'm very proud of myself.
Then I found out devastating news about Shatner and Leonard Nimoy that like they had a friendship breakup in real life that you did not disclose to me, and I've been like,
we don't like to talk about
in
that
an
in the Star
absolute
Trek community.
funk about it for like 4 days.
Yeah, we don't like to talk about that. So I will say, from my perspective, it's been a while since I saw this one, and I enjoyed it more than I remembered enjoying it in the past. And there's this theory that goes around, it's kind of a meme at some point that goes around Star Trek circles, that like the odd numbered movies are no good, and one
Incorrect.
like that and the even ones are good, and one like that theory fell apart in the next generation.
So they said the
anyways.
odd number ones aren't good. Then Wrath of Khan I thought was everybody's favorite. Isn't that 3? No, that's 2. Never mind.
2.
All right.
I think that is a toxic meme in the community, and I honestly
They're
like
acting like Star Wars fans.
They're acting like Star Wars fans, and there's no greater insult
Now I'm
to
going
a
to
Star
kick
Trek
things off.
fan. There is no greater insult to a Star Trek fan than to say you're acting like Star Wars fans. And I think a lot of the criticism of these movies is nitpicky crap that malays the stories that are being told and the characters that we're seeing. And guess what, guys? We're never going to see these guys on film ever again. These are the movies we've got, so we better cherish them. And I thought, I honestly, and maybe part of it was because I was viewing it through your eyes, and
which is a gift to you,
and you were having a great time. And there is nothing better on this earth. You can agree with me. Everybody, there is nothing better on this earth than you watching a movie that you've seen with a person who hasn't seen it and watching them react to it and have the reactions to the moments that you love. There's nothing better than that, whether it's Star Trek or some other movie, whatever it is.
That's why your character that you play on this podcast makes me so angry, because I watched you during the dance scene and people we meet on vacation, and you were smiling, and I could tell you were not having a miserable time, and that is like a gift to me as well.
I don't know what you're talking about with a character or anything. You've also been watching.
Well, you skipped a whole bullet point on our show notes.
There's nothing in between Star Trek and Parks and Rec.
Oh, I didn't send you the updated sheet. Sorry. Daniel also watched Wicked for Good.
Oh, yeah.
So now you've seen both parts of Wicked. You watched that before Stranger Things. That's how you were able to be like, oh, so they ended it like Elphaba.
Yeah.
What did you think of Wicked for Good?
It was fine. It's not as good as the first one.
I think that is not an unpopular opinion. That is pretty much what a lot of people think. Did you not think it was sad?
I mean, yes, but here's the problem.
You looked over at me sobbing and were like, what on earth?
Okay. The movie, and I'm going to make this statement, and I just want everybody to know I'm not a moron. Okay? I understand this is what this is. These two movies would have been so much better off if they weren't bogged down by The Wizard of Oz existing and them having to fit all this inside of that.
That's literally...
I know.
Have
I said I'm not a moron. I understand how stupid of a statement this is, but this movie, because it takes place basically at the same time as The Wizard of Oz.
Flip it around, say it.
All right,
say it.
Wicked Witch. You've been watching Parks and Rec and Frasier. I assume you put the bullet point on here because you have commentary to make about that.
Yes, so as one does, I exhaust all the shows. I love Parks and Rec. It's probably considered... I'd probably put it in my 2 slot for my. Is it a sitcom? Because it's not a live set. You've really ruined my brain about what's sitcom and what's not.
Yeah, it's a sitcom.
Okay, because it's not a live studio audience though. Because you told me there was a time where Daniel chastised me, I believe, on this very podcast, and was like, "It can't be a sitcom if it's not a live studio audience."
There's no record of that ever happening.
Okay,
it's a situational comedy. That's all.
But we at least argued with each other about it. I'm gonna start recording. I missed Alexa when she spied on us, and I would always be eating. Remember, like every time we listened to it, I was always eating. Like, stop eating. Yeah. So anyway, I have gotten to the last season, and I'm no longer interested. And I think I liked the last season when it aired. Not my favorite. It's not the vibe. So then I had to switch into Frasier, but I didn't just go into like the beginning of Frasier. I was like, I want to pick it up with Niles and Daphne when they first get together. So I like started in like season 7. So now I've been rewatching Frasier. You always love Frasier.
Sure, absolutely. I can't wait for some new television. And finally, our last bullet point on the list here today. NFL playoffs?
Yeah, we've been watching. Are you doing the playoffs?
Playoffs?
We have popped in and out of some of those games. I am probably sure that the Steelers lost, but hopefully... Maybe they'll pull off a win. See, we're recording on a Monday, as we said. We'll know. Future us will know. Do you think the Steelers won or lost?
I could not honestly tell you this. I couldn't have been more checked out of the NFL this season. I have no idea if the Texans are any good. I mean,
they have a better record
other than looking at their record, which is better. I could not tell you.
Anyway, I'm in a contest with John Paul and some people, and as the Steelers game has not taken place at the time of this recording, I'm 4-1. The Eagles screwed me. They're the only pick that I got incorrect. So based upon what you have seen, who do you think would be contenders for the Super Bowl if you had to guess right now? Because I feel like earlier this season we were like, oh, the Eagles and Chiefs again. The Chiefs aren't even there. And now the Eagles are out.
I could not.
The Bears won.
Tell you. I really desperately
Patriots
don't want the Patriots to be in the Super Bowl.
Nobody does. I think the Rams and Bears play each other next.
I have a
right.
Yeah, I have a 15-year-old curse hanging over my head, so I really do need the Steelers to go to the Super Bowl. I don't think they have to win for the curse.
They have to go.
They have to go. The curse is only lifted if they go. They don't have to win.
Uphill
so
battle,
if I could just get them there and get this off my back, it would all be better. So I'm pulling for the Steelers, as much as it hurts me to say that.
Which you could look like a clown because by
I very
at
much
the time
probably
of this
will.
episode
Yeah,
being
I
out,
very much
they might checked out of there.
So, but that's what I'm pulling for the Steelers to get in there. And from the NFC, I don't know. Like with the Eagles would have been the only team that I was. So I don't know. Like from the NFC side, who is even any good?
I don't know. They clearly had a nice little comeback victory, and I'm still salty that the Packers beat the Steelers in 2011 in the Super Bowl. Still irritated. By the way. Thank you for that. When I was saying that, I was like, oh, I'm still salty about this. When it like Aaron Rodgers. Now he's part of my team. I'm going to throw my brother-in-law a bone here, who is one of the most diehard Bears fans I've ever met. I don't know why he's a Bears fan, but he is like all about it. And I'm going to say, like, I would like to see them go. They have not been. So we had to look this up because Daniel was like, they were just there in 2007, which is a very long time. Almost like 20 years ago.
We're newlyweds. What are you talking about?
We weren't even married then when they went. We were was all in college.
We were engaged at that point, weren't we?
Yes, I was engaged to be a child bride in winter of 2007. The year before was the good Super Bowl when the Steelers won.
Oh,
anyway, okay. So that was a lot. But Daniel was like, they were just there when we were talking because
you know what? For a Browns fan, they were just there.
I guess, and they did not win. They got beat. I don't remember who beat them, but like we had to go back and like look. Basically, I did like a whole trajectory. Like the Patriots have overwhelmingly been there almost entire, not our marriage, and the time that we have been just together. Dating because we're so old, and I'm like, so I really don't want them to go call me a hater. I guess I am.
No, it's not an insult. I hate the New England Patriots, and I do not want them to go to the Super Bowl. You have too many riches,
and I don't want to hear it. People are like, oh, but the Steelers have all these. I wasn't alive in the 70s. I've only seen the Steelers go to the Super Bowl. Let's see, they lost to the Cowboys. They beat the Seahawks. They beat the Cardinals, and then they lost to the Packers. So I've only seen them go 4 times, and I've only seen them win 2 of the 4 times. I know you have not seen any.
I was going to say anything.
Anyway, yeah, but this shows me, because I've been in this contest, that's another reason I've been paying attention more, that I would be a menace if I ever played fantasy football, because I've been like super into like checking the scores when I normally wouldn't care.
Somebody convince her to do it. Somebody convince her to do it. I've never been able to, but I've only ever done fantasy football.
I've been invited to join before. I'm going to say this right now. When it comes to football and sports, I forgot that the national championship hasn't even been played yet for college. Yeah. That's not till like next Monday. That is so late. They need to do something. It's too late.
College football, in my opinion, is in a really rough spot right now in a lot of different ways.
It's awful in so many ways.
Need to do something about it.
It's not just because my team's out. Like, that is so late. Like,
it's too late.
One, I don't even. It's going to be Miami versus Indiana, I think, right? Yeah, because Ohio State lost. I think Indiana's probably going to definitely beat them, but I never would have guessed that Miami would have beaten Ohio State, so I don't know.
Miami was the 3rd team in the ACC. Like, they didn't even play in the ACC
honestly,
championship
though,
game, which is crazy because Duke should never have been in the ACC
again, though,
championship game, but
that's what you guys asked for with the playoffs. I've seen. I'm not saying you. I'm saying you rhetorical. Like I've seen people like so mad about Miami being in that, and like they're like, well, they don't deserve. They won't. If they win, they won't deserve to be like ranked to be the number 1 team. And I'm like, do you guys not know how playoffs work? I'm like, they deserve. They won. I don't even. I've never liked Miami.
But that's the thing, Hope. That's the thing. And this is, and we've dealt with this in the NCAA in basketball for years. Everybody says they want to see a Cinderella. But they don't want to see a Cinderella past the Elite 8.
That being said, I would hardly consider Miami.
No, I'm not like saying Miami is a Cinderella.
I get it.
What I'm saying is they don't want to see a 3 or 4 loss Miami team win the national championship because they don't think they deserve it. And a lot of that chatter comes from the almighty SEC. And I just want to make a statement. Where are y'all? Where are the SEC at? How many of the playoff games did they win? How many of the bowl games did the SEC win? How's the SEC doing these days?
Anyway, consider me a fan of the BCS. Speaking of things from 2007, let's go back to that, because literally, like, I feel like I used to at least pop into the college, and I was like that, and I know I've had brain fog, but then you clearly, you were like, what? When is that? And I'm like, that's too late. Do they need to trim the fat with some early games, fix something? I feel like I should know who the winner of the college championship is by like at least January 3rd.
I think they should play it on New Year's Day. I think they should rearrange everything and fix it up so that the new national championship game is at the Rose Bowl at noon on New Year's Day. I think that would be perfect.
And there's even like a Rose Bowl parade. They still do that. It's like a famous parade.
Yeah, exactly. Do that. And get, you know what? Since they don't matter, get rid of the conference championship games because they don't matter anymore.
Those are dumb. We could eliminate that
because the winner of the ACC championship game didn't make the playoff.
Don't get
rid. And the 3rd place team in the ACC that didn't go is in the national championship. Again, they don't matter.
Can I just say, though, I would have to fight to keep the Duke's Mayo and Pop-Tart bowls because those are great. I don't know. Do they still have the Duke's Mayo bowl?
I don't know. The Pop-Tarts Bowl.
The Pop-Tart Bowl is still
going. Let's make
it's
that
still
the
kicking.
national championship
yeah.
game. Yeah,
let's do that.
The Pop-Tarts Bowl is great.
They literally kill a mascot and then put him in like the toaster, and a real Pop-Tart pops out that the winning team gets. Like that. That's sports. That is sports. I don't even know what else to say.
I think we say goodbye, and we will talk to you next week, and we will talk to you about your Tell Me Live season 3. You'll be able to talk about. I don't know that we're going to have got started. We are going to watch Percy Jackson season 2. Please stop bothering us.
I've had a few people ask me.
Okay.
I've had a few people ask me.
We are going to watch it. Hope. I'm trying to convince Hope she's not going to read those books, and she could catch up with the 2 before season 3.
But it's a long road. I need to read the book first.
So, anyways, thank you everybody for tuning in to
this
brain fog filled episode, and remember,
2007 was a few years ago.
Talk to you next time.